Greetings viewers, Ericthecarguy here with an update on my clutch hydraulics. Now, you might have seen the video where I installed clutch hydraulics on my 2005 Honda Element, and I was sort of complaining about the amount of money that I spent on the clutch master, clutch slave, and a new line going between the two. Well, this is my take on that. I'm actually out driving the Element now. I've been driving it for a couple of days since I installed those parts. And okay, I'm going to start by saying I think the clutch feels way better. Now, the original setup, and you may be looking at this right now, the original setup, or the original clutch master, had a damper inside of it. And what that did was it sort of cushioned the clutch apply. Think of it sort of like having a balloon between your foot and the clutch pedal. And they did this to make clutching easier. And the way it works is fluid goes in behind this metal disc. The metal disc can move ever so slightly, like a few thousandths of an inch. And believe me, that's all you really need in a hydraulic system. And that small movement dampened the application of the clutch pedal itself. The new system eliminates that altogether, so there's no more of that. That's why the clutch feels so different now than it did when I was using original equipment parts. Not to mention that those original equipment parts were frankly worn out. I mean, my Element has almost 200,000 miles on it. As far as whether or not it was worth the money, I think that's the real question here. For me, I think it was, because I like the way the clutch pedal feels a lot better. But there's there's two issues. The first issue is that for the amount of money I spent on those parts, I would have liked it if I could have just bolted them right in, which I could not do. I actually had to swap the clevis, or the little bracket that's on the end of the old clutch master onto the new clutch master, because the one on the new clutch master would not accommodate the clutch pin. Anyway, watch that video and you'll see the issues that I had there. So, first issue is I feel that the clutch kit was incomplete. The fact that the parts didn't just bolt right in, I had to swap over parts from the original master cylinder. Secondly, because that damping is gone, that means whenever I'm applying the clutch at speed, so if I'm driving down the road and then I apply the clutch, I noticed a little bit of vibration, or I noticed a little bit of feedback in that clutch pedal that I didn't notice before. And I believe the reason for that, I've tried this. I've been driving down the road, and as I'm driving down the road at speed, I just touch the clutch a little bit and I feel it. But when I'm sitting at a stoplight, like right now, I don't feel anything at all. So it's just at higher speeds. And I have a feeling that that has to do with the throwout bearing and the fingers on the pressure plate, and those two coming into contact with one another at speed. This is something I'm certain that you wouldn't feel with the original equipment parts, because I believe that's part of why the damper was there. But I also believe that, hang on a second. But I also believe that that is contributing to, more feedback through the clutch of any vibrations or anything within the system. Now, there could be an issue with my throwout bearing. There could be an issue with my pressure plate. There could be an issue with, maybe I didn't bleed it out all the way, which I seriously doubt that. I don't think the clutch would operate as well as it does if I didn't bleed it out properly. My point is it feels different in every way. Some of the things I don't like, some of the things I do like. I felt the kit was somewhat incomplete in the fact that I had to swap parts over from the original clutch master. Other than that, if you feel like spending the money, you go for it. Especially if you're doing a build and you want your under hood to look like really nice and tidy. If you're looking for that, go for this kit. I'll link that down in the description, along with the original equipment parts, along with some aftermarket parts, and you can see the price difference. You can see you're paying a lot more for what I have here. But if it's a manual transmission vehicle, you're using the clutch constantly. So it's an important feature of the vehicle. Personally, I feel like this clutch setup, despite the fact that I feel like I spent a bit too much money on it, has elevated my experience inside the Element. I hope that information is helpful. Automotive questions, Ericthecarguy.com. Link down in the description, along with a lot of the things I mentioned during the video. Thank you so much for watching today. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. I will see you next time.